Magic is an incredibly complicated game with an incredibly dense set of rules that make all 20,000 cards play nicely with each other. Mostly. Sometimes you get weird cards making weird problems. For example, Selvala and Panglacial Wurm. Imagine, you have 6 forests and a fetch land in play. You crack your fetch land, and while searching your library, you begin casting Panglacial Wurm, because it's a fucked up magic card. In order to cast Panglacial Wurm, you use Selvalla's mana ability, because even though it requires a bunch of hoops, this is a mana ability, because Selvala is a fucked up magic card. Couple weird things happen now. First off, you already know what you're going to reveal and then draw to Selvala because you're actively looking at your deck while you draw your card. Second thing is, if neither player flips a non-land card to Selvala, you could potentially not add enough mana to your mana pool, making it illegal to cast Panglacial Wurm. Normally what happens if the casting of a spell becomes an illegal action is the action is reversed. The card goes back to where it was, mana abilities are undone, unless that mana ability did a thing that can't be reversed, such as a card moving to or from a hidden zone. So, where are we now? What happens to the worm? Is it going back in our library? Does it matter where it goes? What happens to this card that we drew? As weird as the situation is, there's actually nothing here that isn't covered by the game rules. The worm goes back into the library in the same position as it was. Our Selvala card stays in our hand, we finish our fetch, and then we shuffle our library. But something did happen while we were in there. Everything might look like it's above board, but intentionally doing this at a sanctioned event could be considered cheating. So, let's rewind to the beginning. This part where the worm is cast. The player is intentionally taking a decision path which could lead to an illegal game state on purpose for the benefit of gaining extra information before activating Selvala. Intentionally making illegal actions to gain an advantage is, by all definitions, cheating. But that's stupid. We all agree that's stupid, right? So now we've entered into a weird spot where rules weren't broken, and yet, the judge now has to make a ruling on intent. Did you intentionally do this to gain an advantage? Or did this weird interaction just happen? It makes more sense if we give another example. If the player started this line but had 30 untapped forests in play, they would always be able to finish casting the worm. They would still benefit from seeing their library while activating Selvala, but that's just a really weird way of gaining information. Not actually illegal by itself, especially if no illegal actions were taken. Does this matter? No, not really. So much has to happen for this to even occur in the first place. You have to have a Panglacial Wurm in your deck, which is the only way to use mana abilities while searching your library. Use Selvala to cast the worm, which you could only legally do if theoretically could add enough mana to your mana pool, but only becomes a problem if it also potentially could not add enough mana to your mana pool. Pretty stupid stuff. But just to be safe, don't go trying this in any tournaments, okay?